need to get heat out of the 170 Jackson Drive. I can't say it's fast, but I only have 2 minutes to summarize what I want to say tonight. However, I think I'll be able to do so. For month after 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 month, we have come here and we have tried repeatedly to get some kind of organization within this internal investigation that has turned into one heck of a fiasco. I have never seen such ineptitude in my life. People who feel very strongly about our rank and file officers have come here, and we have tried repeatedly to bring in an outside investigative body so that they could take this out of the hands of the chief and the captain, who we don't know whether they have a conflict in this or not. Now, we warned them about the bulk of lawsuits that would follow if this was done the way it was done, but our commission stayed the course. That's their words, not mine. Now, we may not know how the union has their collective bargaining conversations. We may not understand that because we aren't part of that. But we do understand that when you have any kind of inappropriate behavior, even if that is just an appearance, you remove that person and you put somebody who has no bias whatsoever in charge, or you're going to wind up with a mess. And here we are, 8 or 9 months later, with a mess that is beyond repair. I don't know what the answer to this is now, but I do know that the day that we hold officers responsible for the behavior choices that their superior officers make, for the choices or the inappropriate behavior that drunken dispatchers have, we have come to a very sad end. And I don't want to embarrass that we're standing here today, after all this time, knowing that an officer was forced to bring an attorney into this, knowing that we now have a member of our military personnel come back from multiple tours of active duty and has been treated in a disreputable manner, and I am ashamed. For the first time since I moved here 23 years ago, I am ashamed that I participate in the town of Suffield. And I know that we need to make this right. We have to do something. I don't know what that answer is. I don't know what we've gone too far, that it's beyond repair. Thank you. I don't understand how we got to this point. I don't understand why it takes the town of Suffield coming in here and begging in force, wearing blue, to say we have gone on too long. Thank you.
My name is Amy Wright. For 8 months, I basically stood before this commission demanding an external investigation, naming the allegations against Chief Manzi. In response, I watched Manzi and Huntley snicker, smirk, and roll their eyes while I speak, and most of the commission members just stare at me and refuse to acknowledge what I said. It's been a colossal waste of time to expect them to listen to the community they serve, while they've left us all in danger the whole time. So now I turn my back on them. I want you to know that the chief is going to present his past 200 pages of investigation to you tonight. And when he does, I want you to remember this. In 2004, as a Hartford police officer, Michael Manzi perjured himself in a federal court of law after swearing to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And then he lied. United States versus Arroyo. The people defending Dispatcher Stacey Robbins, according to Manzi's investigation, are the chief himself, who is accused of having a sexual relationship with her, among many other things. The captain, who is accused of trying to coerce officers to change their sworn statements. Stacey's boyfriend, who happens to be a Suffield police officer who answers to Manzi. Stacey's best friend, who happens to be a Suffield police dispatcher, who also answers to Manzi. Stacy herself, who has twice been documented as having been drunk on the job and allegedly having sex with Nancy. The only concern Nancy has had all along is who went to the media. It has never been about the safety of the citizens of Suffield or our emergency services personnel. It's all about himself, and this is why he told Officer Reynolds, "I'll have your job when this is through." So please keep in mind that he is going to drag people over the polls to reflect the action from himself and save his own life. The police union will tell you, though, the investigation contains lies and leaves out important facts. I hope the police commission is just as responsible for all of this. Time's up. I hope responsible. Next.
My name is Jacqueline Hannah, 50 Diane Lane. This is my first meeting as being attendant, and the reason I wanted to get involved was the fact that this dispatcher, who I've known to and heard that is an excellent dispatcher, but she was given the opportunity to get treatment, which I assumed she did, and it looks like she did, but then came back and was intoxicated once again. Now, whatever goes on with people's personal affairs and what they want to do, I don't care, but when it affects me, my family, and the community, and our safety, that's when I get involved. And I think that there needs to be something done. The police union obviously has no confidence in Nancy and Huntley. And with that being said, I don't understand why the Board of Selectmen or the First Selectman is not involved when they are the ones who negotiated your contract. And I believe they are responsible for your hiring and firing. So that's really all I have to say about that. And I hope that these concerns get addressed. And my child is not the one that ends up hurt because there's not an adequate response.
Chris Rego, 22 Brookside Drive. On December 17, 2014, a letter was sent by the Suffield Volunteer Ambulance Association to the Suffield Police Commission, the First Selectmen, and the Fire Commission. It requested that the Police Commission members address the SDAA's concerns about Suffield's lack of compliance with state and Connecticut statutes for best practices regarding EMS and fire dispatching. The letter states that the surrounding towns, which are our mutual aid partners, are in compliance. Requirements of the statutes are not being consistently followed for medical assistance in the town of Suffield. The SDAA letter goes on to say that inconsistencies in the dispatch process vary from dispatcher to dispatcher. This variation has led to incorrect resources being sent to emergencies and in delays of emergency care. SDAA Chief Rowe has been in regular communication with Chief Manson for over a year regarding this situation, but nothing has been done. These very basic concerns have been my focus since the start of my involvement with this particular mess. The taxpayers are not getting what they think they're paying for. This SDAA letter was sent to the Police Commission, and the Commission has done nothing with this message of serious safety concerns. In fact, they gave it over to Chief Manson, who has done nothing to effect change. The entire situation could have been handled by responsible leadership and proper management under a First Selectman who cares more about the citizens' safety than saving a buck.
City Garbage 576 North Main Street. Dear Chairman Romano, residents have asked questions about the disaster investigation since the December 2014 Police Commission meeting. In what part of the Police Commission meeting can residents expect to get answers to some of their questions rather than the Police Commission politely listening and not responding? The silence has only fueled the rumor mill. Part 1 of the internal investigation
whether the dispatcher was impaired, was found inconclusive because there was no testing done at the time of the alleged incident. Several complaints by officers that the named dispatcher was impaired went unheeded by the chief. The dispatcher was referred to the town's employee assistance program after an August incident. When there was a second incident in October, no action was taken by management. Is this not a lack of leadership on the part of management and a disservice to a town employee with an apparent medical condition? Would an external investigation of Part 1 bring charges against management for ignoring a dangerous situation? The internal investigation of Part 2, who leaked the impairment issue to Channel 3, has not been made public as of the start of this meeting, although Chief Nancy reported at the March Police Commission meeting that he had just completed his investigation. Although it is clear which officers went to the chief with their concerns about the dispatcher, to my knowledge, there is no proof of who actually communicated with Channel 3. Did Chief Nancy then use intimidation to learn the names of the leakers? This is the charge in a lawsuit brought by one of the officers who would report the incident to Chief Nancy. The chief has worked hard during his tenure to minimize negative press about Suffield, but this incident has caused considerable embarrassment to the town and has the potential to cost the town thousands of dollars in legal fees. Would an early retirement by the chief mitigate any further damage? Thank you.
I'm Gordon Stagg, and this is my right hand. We live at 1575 North Stone Street, West Suffield. And I'm addressing this, and I'll have a copy for everybody up there, and I'm addressing this to Chairman Armada. Takes 2.5 minutes. Please recall that I first appeared before this commission on December 17, 2014, and again on January 21st, 2015, after speaking with numerous Suffield residents of all political persuasions regarding the critical safety and management issues brought forth by our police union. Everyone, I mean everyone I spoke to, agreed on 2 points. One, the police department leadership should not be investigating itself, given the very nature of the issues involved. And number 2, an independent investigation is essential to achieve fair and impartial conclusions. So, after 8 long months, and like others, 8 long months, well, maybe 1, maybe 2, but 8, what is the situation? First, there has been absolutely no move toward an independent investigation, despite numerous requests from Suffield citizens, as well as from the police union, who initially even offered to fund a fair share of the costs. Second, one of the 2 police officers who identified the dispatcher safety issue has filed a lawsuit charging that his civil rights have been violated during the internal investigation. Third, the long-awaited internal report was just recently released to the public, but cannot be given credence because the authors are central to the investigation, and it is far too narrow in scope. Lastly, Suffield is faced with the possibility of major legal expenses. I hope our town is not going to depend on the internal report in any court case. The end result of all this is a completely demoralized police force, and public trust and confidence in the Commission is at the lowest point in my 35 years in Suffield. An independent investigation would have prevented this entire decline. Now, after 8 months, it's clear to me why the union felt the need to go public. The Commission has not responded to any of us, so why would the union expect a different response? There was no choice in the interest of public safety, as well as their own safety, but to go outside the normal lines of communication to alert Suffield citizens to a serious problem.
My name is Derek Donnelly. I live at 6 Cheltenham Court with my wife and 2 children. I am not known for being brief, but I promise to be brief. I'm here today, and I just wanted to say it out loud, to support the rank and file officers who are not involved in this investigation. I think many of us are here today. People who show up every day and put their job on the line, pull people over not knowing what they're going to have in the car, and they do it all for us. And this nonsense is not something they should have to deal with at work. I'd also like to voice my support for those members of the Commission who did support an independent investigation, who were shouted down, who were ignored, and who are going to be scapegoated as we move forward here. At the end of the day, it does come back to responsibility and accountability on the part of the Commission, on the part of the Board of Selectmen, on the part of the First Selectman. And I hope that as we move forward here, an independent investigation is done, and more importantly, the blame is assigned to those guys who show up every day and put their lives on the line for us.
My name is Scott Kilmartin. I live at 759 Hale Street. I want to encourage the Commission to make a copy of the reports that have been now completed available to the public so that they can be read at the station. I encourage you to have those available so if someone wants to come in and take the time and read them, that they can do so there. Whether you believe the report was done correctly, much of it is sworn testimony. I encourage everybody to take a look at this report. The information that is sworn is unimpeachable, and that information suggests the following. What started as a personnel HR matter has developed into a wedge issue to influence department personnel and contract negotiations. The department followed correct HR policies and procedures regarding the dispatch. They had to follow certain regulations and rules as it pertained to the dispatch. Whether we like it or not, they were obligated to. Linda Stevenson violated FOIA laws and Connecticut general statutes by trying to influence commission members and town staff to terminate Roberts while the investigation was underway. Stevenson had direct contact with Officer Reynolds regarding the matter. Linda Stevenson also refused to be interviewed regarding the illegal release of confidential reports to the media. The reports demonstrate that at least one officer, central to this controversy, spent many, many hours while on duty, parked behind tobacco sheds, vacant buildings, and out-of-the-way places, not performing required duties. And I, by the way, would like to see more traffic enforcement because on my street there have been a number of animals that have been killed during the last year. I'll just see another minute. The salacious personnel accusations that were made, which have never been substantiated, have diverted attention from what should be the central issue, proper management of department staff. While it appears that the dispatcher violated regulations on 2 occasions, she was entitled to seek treatment initially, and one can only speculate whether the breach of confidential information regarding her problem and public humiliation vis-a-vis a relationship with a superior may have contributed to that ongoing problem. If you haven't read the investigative reports, you should do so.
John Murphy, 18 Downing Way. I second everything that Scott mentioned in this report. Whether you like it or not, this dispatcher is not the first person in the history of mankind who has had a drinking issue. She is, however, entitled to rights. Every person in this town has rights. And when you launch an investigation like this, for anybody who's been involved in any of these kinds of things in the past, it's privacy. And what the violation was, they followed rules, regulations set up by years of human rights attorneys putting this stuff together to protect her rights and to establish the precedent so that if this behavior continues, then you're in the proper position to take the necessary steps. So I think there should be an individual investigation on the people who leaked this to the public, because it's none of the public's business as to what's going on with a human resource type of an event. That person has violated that person's rights. So what about this dispatcher? What about some of these other people that have been harmed because of these lousy writings in Facebook and social media? I figure these are cowards who sit there and make all kinds of salacious statements about people who don't even know what's really going on. The report, whether you like it or not, is official. I didn't make the rules. That's the way it is. The person has been taken care of. The next issue is, the bigger issue is, we have members who think they can go to the press at their free will and harm people for their own personal agenda. And my opinion is, take a look at what the agenda is of those people, and you'll get to the bottom of the real issue. Thank you.
My name is Joe Adams. I know a lot of people in this room for a long time. I'll tell you what, I'm no coward. I'll tell you how it is, just like I am right now. I'm glad you brought that up, about police procedures and doing everything in privacy. Since when is sleeping with the victim? Since when is that part of protocol?
You know that?
I'm not, did I talk when you were talking? Then keep your mouth shut. I'm not finished. Sir, jump in and tell him to be quiet next time when I'm speaking. I kept my mouth shut for him. I deserve respect. I've lived in this town for 40 years. 39. I've known you for a long time. You are an embarrassment to this police department. Your service and I'm sorry, I'm trying to make it sound impossible, but I'm going to tell you right now, you guys are an embarrassment. You should hand in your resignations tomorrow. You board members, let this go on for 8 months. No public comment. There was a few of you in the beginning supported a separate decision. They really wanted a separate investigation. Shame on you for giving up. Because you gave up on every person in this room right now. You gave up on every person in this town. You guys are supposed to be protected. Shame on you. You know what? Honestly, I think you should be brought up on charges for reckless endangerment of the town. Because I believe there was a 911 call. I don't know if that's fact, but maybe somebody can tell me if it's fact or not before the end of the night. Since when is that part of protocol? That wasn't part of the first time. This is a whole separate incident. It's the and shake your head and you don't bother me. I'll tell you what, my name is Joe Adams. I live at 333 Griffin Road. I'll hand this to the next person who's speaking.
She was caught twice drinking. The second time she got caught, she didn't go to rehab. And there was a third time on allegations, right? So I don't know if that's protocol or normal, but how many times does she have to get drunk and a 90-year-old man, or woman, I'm sorry, sit on the floor waiting for help?
My name is Allie Sherritt. I live at 1628 Rattling Road, and I'm here to tell you that I personally know Casey Robbins. She was a very good friend of my father, and she does deserve her privacy, and she deserves the help that she needs so greatly. Her name was not released in the beginning when they went to the media. Her privacy was respected, but proper procedure and protocol was not done by the captain or the chief, ever in this investigation. This investigation, I might as well be reading a fiction book, because the lack of integrity that these commissioners and the chief and the captain have, and the lack of disregard that you have for this town and these officers is unbelievable. We can't fix this problem with the same people that created it. So where we're supposed to go from here? But in regards to going to the media and how we need such an investigation about that, if someone feels that it's exposing a crime is treated as committing a crime, then you're a criminal.
Hi, I'm Kathy Muxa, excuse me. I live at 55 Brandywine Lane. I think the bigger picture, the thing that I'm the most concerned about is the dispatcher. And this dispatcher not only dispatches the police, but she dispatches the fire department and the ambulance. I'm really concerned about the safety of our residents. And I think that's the biggest problem here. And I'm sorry, but if I was that 94 or 90-year-old family member of that person, I would be owning Suffield. And that was her third time drunk on the job, and that was just in May, I believe. That was correct, Channel 3? Thank you. This is really, and I have to say, Mr. Stagg or whoever else said, it's an embarrassment. I grew up in Suffield. I've lived here all of my life, except for a few bad years. But, I'm very disappointed. Captain Huntley, when I came back to town and I was scared to death, you did help us out. And I had no other feelings with you. But the way that this has been handled is really quite an embarrassment. I work in healthcare, and to send ambulance people out to some wrong calls, that's a problem. Look at the minutes from the Ambulance Association. It's not just about this one dispatcher. I can tell you I had a really minor call in December. My lovely son decided to get online, was playing a game, and contacted someone and gave them my address. My ex-husband called the police, and he was told by a dispatcher, tell your son to stop playing these games and not to talk to people online. I then called a little while later. I got a completely different response. I had police officers dispatched to my house, and it was taken seriously. I really question, what are dispatchers? Are they regulated in any way? Do they have any ongoing training? I'm a physical therapist. I require annual CEUs. Do they require anything? This is really important because it's not just dealing with our police officers.
isn't dealing with the entire town. And it's a disgrace. Sam Kawani, 948 Russell Avenue. I've lived in this town for 40 years. I actually served on that commission. And I have been watching it from afar. I have not attended meetings. I have not participated in online discussions. But when it gets to the point that the patrolmen have to file a no confidence against the chief, it seems to me that we all have a big thing to worry about. They do not do this lightly, and in my years, it hasn't happened. I resent the deflection of blame to Linda, to everybody else that's online. How about the people who are responsible for having dealt with this and have put the people who come trying to find out what's going on, put them down to the point that they leave every meeting feeling just frustrated. I think that it's time, and I have no idea where we go from here, but I do think that if something isn't done, we're already the big news out there. Suffield usually gets no attention in the news, but boy, we are getting it now. And I thank the patrolmen because I do believe that this was the last resort for them, which means it's the last resort for us.
Hi, Carrie O'Brien, Navy Suffolk Street. First of all, I want to say that not only have I lived in town almost my whole life, with the exception of a few short years, when I was very little, I have generations upon generations of family that have been in town, both myself and my husband. And I'm just going to read a letter because I don't do well talking just off the fly. First, I think that as a whole, we do owe an apology to the dispatcher that is involved in the situation in town that everybody keeps talking about. I truly feel bad for her as dealing with a very private matter publicly makes the issue that much harder to deal with. That being said, I would like to also point out that her superior did truly do her an injustice by pretending the issue did not exist and therefore not getting her help that she needed. As a mom with a teenage daughter, I have had many conversations with her about drugs, alcohol, peer pressure, and even eating disorders. In every one of these talks, I have stressed that while telling an adult about a friend's problem with any of these above issues may be extremely hard and may result in an unpleasant outcome for the friendship, it may also be the one thing that saves that person's life. I truly hope that she is listening, that my daughter is listening to me and not looking to a hero figure such as our current police chief for a high-heel way to handle a very difficult situation. Which leads to the next issue. This issue is directed not only to the police chief, but their second in charge. If you, the people who are in charge of these officers, A, don't trust them, clearly, and B, are willing to have them change a sworn statement, then how, as a public, are we supposed to trust that if they come to an incident at my house and then go back to the station, that they're not going to change the accounts that happened at my incident? Furthermore, what's not stopping anyone that had incidents involving these officers from coming forth and saying that they lied? That being said, I would like to make sure that it is very clear that I trust each and every one of them to the fullest, and am appalled that those that are in charge of their safety would blatantly put their lives and reputations as well as the reputation of the town at stake, especially in this time where trust in the police is very difficult. have heard many comments that if certain people, if websites would stop talking about these issues, that they would go away, and that nobody may have found out about them. That we are drawing attention to ourselves as a town and giving the town a bad name. Just because you get away with something does not make it okay. Just because you don't ask questions does not make it okay. Eventually, the issue with brushing stuff under the rug is that eventually it does come out. This is not being, and then questions will be asked. This is not being nosy, it's not trying to start trouble, it is human reaction. When you don't understand something, you ask questions. I tell the children that if you don't want the cops poking around and paying attention to you, then don't give them a reason to do that. Don't give them a reason to question your character. And the gentleman, that's exactly what you did. You gave people a reason to question your character. And it's in our right to question that. Okay, so my final issue is with you guys as commissioners. As a civilian police commissioner who is elected by the people, it is your job to increase the police department's accountability to the community it serves. This holds true for our first election as well. That said, there are a few people that I have heard recently say they are volunteers, and as such, they have families and jobs and things to do and things to juggle the same as us. I can't help but wonder if the same people would be asked if it would be okay if their child was volunteer baseball coach or softball coach or soccer coach decided they didn't have time to practice, decided that they didn't have time for a championship. Or if it would be okay with a volunteer firefighter saying, you know, you're busy, it's okay that you don't go to training. Or to our volunteer medics in town, is it okay to not keep up on your training or to just not show up to a call? My point is I agree with volunteers, they deserve our utmost respect. But you should not and do not volunteer for things if you don't have an interest or time for them. In conclusion, I would like to say that although I do read papers and websites and hear talk around town, and that some of these things may not be accurately depicted, there is one thing that no one can really deny, and that is the core problem here is not that someone has a drinking problem or someone has another problem. It's not that our officers drew attention to the issues or drew attention to our quiet town. It is that we have a leader that has allowed these problems to fester. I don't believe that firing this sector would have helped. I do feel that there needs to be something done. This is not the first issue that we've had. We've had issues that we've gone to the first level myself. There was an issue a couple of years ago where there was a bus accident, and it waited 2 hours for somebody to show up to help.
Excuse me, if we could finish up, please, we're trying to stick to the 2 minutes. All right.
Okay, I'm done. I just wanted to make it clear that this isn't the first time.
Thank you. I'll be brief to make up for the last speaker. My name is Tom Frenay, 489 Watertown Road in West Suffield. I'm here to say I've lost confidence in the management of the police department, the police commission, and the board of selectmen regarding serious problems with the emergency services dispatching that first surfaced last year. I believe it's time for Chief Nancy and Captain Huntley to retire and for some new people at all levels of town government to work to restore public confidence in the police department. Thank you.
My name is Kathy Mormino, 519 South Sherman Street. Is the first selectman here this evening? No. Well, that's convenient, because he's the first who should be handing in his resignation for town start with the first selectman and are pervasive not only through this commission but other commissions, and he should be ashamed of himself, just as the chief and his second in command should be ashamed of themselves for their disgusting lack of leadership and following policy. It's time to retire, gentlemen.
Pamela Harris, 63 Hydrangea Lane. I just wanted to publicly thank Officer Reynolds for coming forward and bringing this to all of our attention. And I feel his family and himself is for the policy. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Shannon Watson, Bricken Road. I've been coming to these meetings month after month after month, and I'm not talking to anyone up here because I've said everything I have to say to them. People here can try to blame this on social media, on spreading rumors, on not following procedure. Well, sticking a pipe and smoking it, really. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You want to try to switch blame away from those problems. You want to misdirect people. Nice try. I don't think it worked, but nice try. I think the officers said that they had to stay together. They're done. They have no faith in the people sitting behind them. If they have no faith, how are we supposed to? We're supposed to trust these people to lead our officers, to lead our dispatchers, to make sure we're all safe, our kids are safe, we don't have any problems. No. This is past fixing. We said months ago, 6 months ago, it was taking too long, we need to do something, it's just going to get worse, it's just going to get worse. It got worse. And it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, to be honest. I mean, people have tried stepping up. There's members of this commission that have tried to change course. They've been shot down. We've asked questions that we wanted to answer. We've been ignored. I'm so angry at this point, so frustrated, so disgusted with the people that have been making these decisions. Well, the only difference this time is Captain Russell and Chief Nancy have to face the audience. They don't have their backs to us like they usually do, where they can sneer at each other, make their faces when we're talking. It's always fun to watch, really. You guys have missed a lot of fun over the last few months. We've been treated with no respect. Zero.
I'm Melissa Mack of 321 North Main Street. And I have a question for the commission and for, unfortunately, the Board of Selectmen who isn't here today, our elected fiduciary that we trusted to represent us and the town in protecting our best interests. I would ask, how do you expect to restore trust and integrity in the police force in this town and expect to gain us back to believing that when we have an emergency, that we'll be met with the respect and the talent and the professionalism that we deserve?
My name is Ben Rodriguez, my assistant for all Avenue. And I'm a relative newbie compared to some of the other folks that have spoken already, but regardless, I pay my taxes, and that's professionalism. When I have a problem, I call 911. I've heard a lot of comments here, and I think when something like this happens, I think it's a breakdown of a structure from a number of people. I'm not going to say whether or not someone should retire or not retire, but I will say this. I echo the sentiment that I have great concern and lack of confidence in the leadership. But in my opinion, I think that it's a lot of people that sit at the table, not just one person. I think it starts with the chair, I think it starts with the chief, I think it's first elected and others. I sent everyone an email just so, I'm speaking here before you, so you can see my face. There's no passive aggressive internet stuff. This is right up front. And I just want to reiterate, it's not personal, but I just imagine, I have 4 children at home, young kids, and I just imagine, what if it was me that called, or my wife that called 911, and one of my children was in distress for that long. Okay? That could have been prevented. That could have been prevented. The biggest item I have, the biggest issue I have. I don't have an issue with someone going to the public. Someone letting me know that there's a problem isn't a problem. That's a good thing. And I'm not attacking dispatchers. She deserves the right to expect that all of us deserve at our workplace. But I think there's a difference between attacking that person and saying we have an allegation or allegations or even proof that we have someone that's impaired, has to be a dispatcher, and then it happening again. That is a titanic failure. That is a terrible, terrible failure. And I think that a lot of people sitting at the table should rethink their role, because you're elected, and that's how our town operates. So I think that is a titanic failure here. Not that it got to us, not that anything else happened, but that there was someone that was in distress, and that there was a warning about it still happening. There could have been a preventive measure, like if this person, the moment they check in, they report to whatever commanding officer on duty at the time to prove that they're sober, then let's do that every time and spell it out. So that's my only comment.
Hi, my name is Stuart Adams. I live at 333 Griffin Road. I'm a student here at Suffield High School, and I would like to ask every single last one of you up here, what kind of example are you setting for us, for you, the future? Coming from a 17-year-old. Now, from what I've heard, you guys like to turn your backs on. In English class, you have to write all sorts of papers. And one of the biggest things is finding reliable sources to write, to include in the article. I have a hard time believing the police report that Officer Mandy wrote, considering he was the one that he was writing about himself. Also, you lied on the stand and you swore to tell the truth. I honestly, you swore to tell the truth on the stand and lied. You swore to tell the truth about the report, and I guarantee you there's lies in there. Those two gentlemen at the end of the table in your uniforms, you guys took an oath to serve and protect, not to hide and cover up.
Julie Grano. I don't hide behind social media. I live on Round Road. I've lived here most of my life. I've raised children, grandchildren. I've had a lot of dealings with police. Not breaking that. But Officer Reynolds, Officer Nelson, Officer Lasik, all of them above, outstanding police officers. So what I don't understand is when Nakanene announces stuff that he's going to fight Reynolds' lawsuit. Well, for crying out loud, how many more damn lawsuits do we need? How many more of our dollars have to go to this BS? They're not protecting us. They should resign. That would be Officer Huntley, Officer Craig, the commissioner that backed that false report up and insisted that they not make an independent study. Now, I have all the pity in the world for somebody who has a drinking problem. I have all the pity in the world for somebody who is sexually molested at work, but is struggling with a drinking problem, and has to deal with the public finding out that they have a drinking problem. But she did. She got 3 shots at cleaning her ass up. She couldn't do it. No, she put every one of you at risk. Every one of your children, every one of your parents, every one of your grandchildren. It didn't matter. Every one of us was at risk while she was on board. How she keeps getting her job back? Be honest. How she keeps getting in? Be honest. And I'll tell you one thing. I have not been back in AA. I'm telling you, when Reynolds' lawsuit goes to court, I'm not backing him up because he's going to fight him tooth and nail. Because I think Officer Reynolds hit it right on the head.
I'm Ashley Keller with 18 Street Public Connecticut. I'm an officer of the Connecticut for the city of Connecticut. I have to say, for my police academy, they taught me, taking a cup of coffee for free is actually actually more wrong than you should do it. So bribing the officers for the free country club membership will for us wrong. They taught me that in the police academy. I don't know about 100 police academies taught me, but they're in the police academy, so taught them not to take even a free cup of coffee. Also, I think it's very interesting that the new police hires, the new position that they hired for, wasn't advertised, wasn't posted in HR, so the chief can do what he wants to do. Now, the new police officer is also a former police commissioner's son-in-law. How is that right? So there's a lot of corruption going on, just not in the investigation with the dispatcher, but also with the bribery for the police officers, country club membership, this investigation with the dispatcher, and also hiring police officers. Where's the job posting for that? I know several of these police officers would love to get up and stand and talk today, but obviously they need the next part, just like Officer Reynolds was.